are the animals. Treat them nice and they'll be nice to you. Try to keep in mind that they're just like humankind. Animals are people too. What's more fun than an animal acting silly just like people do? Animals are people too. Animals are people too.
And now, the best friend an animal ever had, Alan Thicke.
Hello, and welcome to Animals Are People Too. Haven't we all experienced the magic of communicating with a pet? That feeling that you actually understand each other? It's the communication of the heart. Animals give us unconditional love. We've all heard of dolphins rescuing shipwreck victims, or dogs and cats saving families from fires. How about the falcon who flew over the fences of a Siberian prison year after year with food to keep his starving master alive? Yes, animals are people too. They love us, and they'll follow us anywhere. Now, to prove that, here's a dog named Shadow who goes where no dog has ever gone before. I'll bet you think this is a story about a water skiing dog. Or maybe you think it's a story about a dog who skis on snow. Wait a minute, there's something fishy here. Get out of here! A scuba diving dog? Don't adjust your television sets. You are witnessing what we believe is the only documented case of a dog going where no canine has gone before, 20,000 leagues under the sea. Well, almost. This is Shadow. She's made more than 200 dives in special equipment designed by her owner, Dwayne Folsom.
I built 5 sets of gear before I finally got one that worked and worked the way I wanted it to. She never saw the water before, and once we got involved in the water, she really loved it.
Who is Shadow, and how did she become the canine Jacques Cousteau?
It was kind of like love at first sight. Come here. Come here.
Dwayne Folsom loved water sports, and he noticed Shadow did too. He wanted to take her on scuba trips with the family, so off to the workbench.
Very often when we come into the islands and they're checking our baggage, when they open Shadow's dive bag, they can't identify it at all. I'm forced to carry a lot of pictures with me of Shadow scuba diving because it's very, very hard to try to explain how this gear works to customs or immigration people.
Shadow loves diving. She took to it like a duck to water, pardon the expression.
Now I have an intercom system that she can actually hear my voice, tiny underwater speaker that mounts right behind her left ear. She travels with us everywhere we go. She has her own passport. We really consider her part of the family now. She asks so little in return, only just love.
Yes. It's not only pets who form friendships with us. Wild animals have been known to connect too. And this next story introduces a very odd couple. Say hello to Daisy. She's a Canadian goose, and this is her best buddy, Dan Stephan. Dan adopted Daisy the day she came out of her shell. You don't get much closer than these two. The question is, does Daisy think she's a human, or that Dan's a goose? Not that it matters. Wherever Dan goes, Daisy's by his side.
Well, let's go, Daisy.
In the good old summertime, or when snow blankets their Minnesota home.
Come on, Daisy!
Daisy was hand-raised by Dan. That's what experts call an imprint. It's so strong she'll follow him anywhere, even at 50 miles an hour.
She loves flying close. She likes that eye contact. In the air, she feels that she needs to be up close, and she likes to look at you as you're driving along.
It's a strange sight to see. One time a deputy sheriff chased Dan because he thought Dan was bothering the wildlife.
Well, at first I'm not sure if I'm chasing it or if I'm actually, it's my buddy.
The deputy ended his chase after Dan turned his boat and Daisy followed. Most people in Dan's neck of the woods think the world of Daisy.
And she's friendly. She likes all my friends, and she likes all the activities, and that's hard to beat.
These two are truly kindred spirits. They love the great outdoors, and they love each other.
She's the friendliest goose I've ever met.
The age-old bond between people and animals can affect more than our emotions. Studies show that elderly people in nursing homes can actually experience a drop in blood pressure if they have contact with a pet. Here's a story about how animals work magic with disabled children. The children at this school for the blind get a special visitor every week. Charlene Loretz and her canine companion named Oni. Charlene's the founder of Love on Four Paws, a volunteer group that visits hundreds of disabled Los Angeles children every week.
Yes, Nellie. That's her tail.
Meet Nellie, Linda, Brittany, Lorena, and this irrepressible little guy,
Hey, what you looking at?
Rolando. Miss Charlene and Oni have one goal: to give new confidence to disabled children. Oni teaches kids to trust through the special unconditional love that only animals can give.
He has a lot of hair right here. I wish I'd had a video camera the first time some of these kids put their hands on Oni's fur. It was like their faces went up, their eyes lit up, and there was this total disbelief on their face. Kids who had trouble walking or who were in walkers and with crutches and didn't want to move were absolutely willing to do it when the dogs came. We do it together?
No wonder we call them man's best friend. 8-year-old Nellie Cardenas, whose vision is so impaired she can barely see light, has reached out to this loving animal for the inspiration to attempt things she couldn't or wouldn't do on her own.
When we first came to Nellie's room a year and a half ago, Nellie did not want to go near the dog. And she was so frightened that if she thought the dog was coming near her, she would be very upset. She would try and grasp onto whoever was near her, and she really didn't want anything to do with the dog. Good job, Nellie. I am really proud of you. That was really good.
Was afraid it would bite me?
Oni wins them all over. I think out of this group of kids that Oni has probably had the biggest impact on Nellie. Nellie is physically strong. She's very able to think and to handle situations. And when she's older, she would hopefully be a really good candidate for a guide dog, which is really going to increase her mobility.
And that's important to Nellie because, like most 8-year-olds, there's a lot she wants to do when she grows up.
I want to be a doctor, I want to be a teacher, I want to be a mail carrier.
I get a real personal satisfaction in helping the kids have a better quality of life. And that may sound sophomoric, but that's really where it is for me. This is a labor of love.
I love you, Oni.
It's never easy to cope with a disability, and it's especially heartbreaking to witness the confusion of an animal who's crippled, deaf, or blind. But where does a disabled animal turn for help? Here's an incredible story of 2 dogs who found the answer. Meet Ben. He's blind, but he's got Bill, his very own seeing-eye dog. These Jack Russell Terriers were found wandering the streets of a town in England, half-starved, terrified, but inseparable.
It was incredible how Ben just hung onto his back of his neck and Bill was leading him all over the kennels, into his little kennel and into his little bed, and even guiding him at one stage to his food bowl and water.
Local kennel officials realized that without Bill, Ben wouldn't survive.
You could never ever split them, never. They just really attached to him, like brothers.
Ben wasn't blinded by accident. Someone did it on purpose. It was a cruel blow, but luckily, Ben found Bill. Sometimes a dog's best friend is a dog.
It just follows him everywhere. And when he went to the vet to have his eyes done, little Ben, he was sort of like really stressed.
The heartwarming story made newspaper headlines around the world, and more than 5,000 people offered to adopt them. Today, Ben and Bill live in a mansion with a pal named Rosie. Still inseparable, they share daily strolls, a large backyard, a bench to sun on, and a comfy double bed. A happy ending to an inspiring tale of doggy devotion, the kind leading the blind. All actors know that animals are renowned scene stealers. Well, move over, Lassie, Benji, and Rin Tin Tin. There's a new hot dog in town. He's such a big star, he doesn't even need a name. They call him the Taco Bell dog. In Hollywood, it is said there are no small parts, only small actors. And this is one of Hollywood's smallest big stars. Who hasn't fallen under the spell of this smooth-talking, swaggering, south-of-the-border Don Juan? And he's not just good-looking, he's smart.
To equal a given number.
What is a logarithm?
What is a logarithm? Absolutely right.
He's romantic. And revolutionary.
Viva gorditas!
His acting technique always leaves you hungry for more.
Yo quiero Taco Bell.
But behind every Hollywood success story, there's always a twist. He's not really a he-dog, he's a she-dog. Her name is Gidget. This hard-working actor who weighs just 8 pounds has starred in 19 commercials. She's even worked with the biggest actor in the business, Godzilla.
Lizard, lizard, lizard. I think I need a bigger box.
They tend to be better actors than some of the actors we're dealing with. They seem to get things in one take a little more easily and understand their whatever, the motivation and all that stuff.
Hey, señorita, I'm thinking you, me, dinner?
Everybody loves the Taco Bell dog.
Yo quiero Taco Bell.
We've just seen a special seeing eye dog. Now let's meet a motorcycle mama named Lady Harley. She has a unique skill that helps people with hearing problems. Are you ready for a dog on a hog?
Good girl. Oh, yeah. You like that, huh? Harley dog on a Harley hog. You're such a sweet.
This is Lady Harley's colorful owner, Jeremiah Gabra.
Want to hear my horn?
Jeremiah suffers from an intermittent hearing loss, and before you ask, it wasn't caused by the ear-splitting roar of his Harley-Davidson.
Sometimes I lose my hearing anywhere from 10 seconds to 10 minutes. Harley is trained that when we're walking or whatever, that if my hearing goes out, I just give her a reach down when she's walking with me at heel, and I just give her a love pat on her left shoulder. And if someone should call my name, or if someone should run up behind me, or there should be some sort of reason that I should be alerted, this is what hearing dogs do, is alert people to sounds.
It's a good thing Jeremiah has this guide dog license attesting to his hearing problem, because some policemen aren't too sympathetic to seeing a dog on a motorcycle.
When she goes like that, that's when she signals me that there's a siren, when she tilts her head like that.
Jeremiah is pulled over frequently when the police see Lady Harley, but he's become very good at explaining diplomatically that they're entirely within their rights.
He stays down, doesn't ever interfere with you? Nothing comes to it?
If she was a smaller dog, like a Cocker Spaniel or a little Chihuahua or something, the wind would even knock her out. But because her weight holds her down and she straddles the thing.
I've seen someone with a small dog riding, and an officer cited him for an unsafe riding. But,
imagine me quoting you the law. Even though she's a lady, she's not a person, but and she's not a passenger. And she's not a passenger because they don't consider dogs as passengers for the carpool lane.
The only thing I could think of is the rule that says that a dog has to be cross-tethered. But that's in the bed of a pickup.
Right.
So this doesn't fall under any of those rules. So I think you get to slide right by on all the, it's right down the happy medium there.
What a relief.
Just like a captain with his ship, or just like a man with his airplane, I go over that bike, make sure that the correct air is in the tires, the oil, everything. You know, I give it a typical safety check. It's not just me; it's her life too that's on the line.
See you in the fast lane, Lady Harley. Well, it's Hearts and Flowers time. We bring you a love story to rival Romeo and Juliet. It was a romance that spelled doom from the start, but we promise you a happy ending. This is Elliot the Swan, who lived happily on a, well, Swan Lake, until he fell in love with the wrong bird and got everybody talking.
Well, I think it's a most unusual love affair.
It's beyond me what has happened here. It's great, but it seems awfully strange.
Birds of a feather usually flock together, but poor Elliot fell in love with a swan boat. For reasons known only to him, Elliot got so attached to his fiberglass friend that he never left its side. The swan boat had been a long-time attraction at the racetrack. A beautiful girl would ride around the lake while Elliot glided proudly alongside.
She would feed the geese and the swans, and she would drive the little boat around, and she would wave to the grandstand.
But sadly for poor Elliot, the park officials decided it was time for the swan boat's swan song. They retired it forever. Elliot was frantic, heartbroken. When his longtime love was dried out, he refused to be separated. He left the lake and desperately followed her onto dry land.
We took the boat out of the water and loaded it on a truck, and they took it away. Well, Elliot followed the boat in the truck as far as he could run, all the way down the road until it got to the tunnel. He couldn't run any farther, and he just stood there and cried, just screeched. It was terrible. I came out every day to feed Elliot, and Elliot would not leave the side of the boat. He would not go in the water. He stood there day and night and was not doing well. I was really getting worried about him. He looked like he could die. So I went to my boss and I told him, you know, we have to put the boat back in the water or Elliot is going to die. They finally agreed, and they got the forklift, and as soon as he saw that boat, it was love at first sight, and everything was back to normal with Elliot. If you could have seen him run after that forklift, it was just an amazing sight. He was back with his boat, and everything was back to normal. So we've made a pact that we keep the boat now just for Elliot.
Our story of Elliot the Swan proves that animals like people can suffer from a broken heart. Happily, his life on Swan Lake has returned to normal. Animals are also just like people when it comes to athletic ability. You've got your klutzes, your superstars, and you also have Zeke, the wonder dog. Here he comes, Zeke, the wonder dog. And what's so wonderful? First there was Michael Jordan, now there's Zeke, the world's greatest canine athlete.
Take it to the hoop, boy.
But to his owners, Ron and Sue Hammer, Zeke's much more than a dog, he's like a son.
He is attentive, smart, intelligent, lovable. He's just a people dog.
Yeah. Let's see a trick catch. I want to see you stand up on this one. Here you go. Come on, get up. Stand up, up.
It's hard to believe when you look at his coal black coat that 6-year-old Zeke is part golden retriever and part Dalmatian.
If he was a football player, it'd be Jerry Rice. If he was a basketball player, it'd be Michael Jordan. Baseball, he'd have to be Mark McGuire.
After a lot of patient training by Coach Ron, Zeke has mastered just about every sport. Let's see a hole-in-one, Zeke.
Come on, Zeke. Play a little golf. Okay, move your foot forward. Bring your foot forward. Okay, put your stick down here. Nice shot now. Ready? Keep your head down. There you go. Very nice. Height.
How about a little touchdown action? The dog world's first John Elway. It's fun dreaming up new stunts for Zeke to do because he can do just about everything.
You bet it is, because he can do them, you know. If I think it up, he can do it.
Now, something truly astounding. Ron will call out the names of these tools and watch what happens.
Get your screwdriver and bring it here. Attaboy, bring it over here. Good boy, bring it over here, Jimmy. That's good. Get your pliers. There's your pliers. Attaboy. Come on. Bring them here. Very good. Very nice. Very good. All right, let's get that tape measure. Get your tape measure. Yeah, that's your tape measure. Very nice.
And have you ever heard of a dog who picks up his own toys?
Yeah, boy.
Zeke's even got his own teddy bear. He really makes you believe animals are people too. I've heard cleanliness is next to dogliness, so let's jump in the shower. Turn on the water, Samson. Good boy. Let's get nice and clean. Don't get soap in your eye. When Samson jumps in the shower, he really jumps in the shower. Now here's a dog following in the paw steps of the great masters. Hey, it's Vincent Van Dog. Actually, her name is Otter, and she loves to paint. What form? What composition? Is this painting for sale, man? Of course, after a whole day of tricks, it's time for bed.
Otter, go to sleep.
Actually, forget about going to sleep. What your animal really needs after a hard day of doing mind-boggling tricks is a little pampering. And when it comes to treating pets like royalty, the sky is the limit. Welcome to what just might be the most exclusive resort for pets on the planet, the Kennel Club. The animals are chauffeured by pet limo and carried tenderly to the door.
Annie's arrived. Annie. And what accommodations is Annie going to have today?
She wants the Cowgirl Cottage.
Oh, perfect.
And the spa treatment.
Oh, you're going to look gorgeous by the end of your stay, Annie.
Today, Annie's getting a primo package, a pedicure, massage, blow dry, the works. Just like human beings who can't resist that extra cookie, Annie has to do a stint on the treadmill. Kennel Club guests just love a little pool time. Then it's off to doggy aerobics. Health-conscious canines can run, jump, and buff their bods in the golden sunshine. Our feline friends enjoy the gym too. A good workout is essential at the Kennel Club because the cuisine is just yummy. What animal can resist the specially formulated ice cream and cookie treat? And if you like dining al fresco, how about an outdoor picnic? Don't forget to use your napkins. And then relax a bit.
Sometimes people will bring in tapes of their voice, them singing to their pet. They want us to play it. Sometimes they will want to talk to their dog from Tokyo on the phone. We had one gentleman that wanted us to go over to Burger King and buy a hamburger every day for his dog.
The Kennel Club beats many top hotels. Guests can choose from 14 theme cottages, each with its own bed, TV, and VCR. This one's called the Firehouse, very popular with the Dalmatian set.
Over the hills and over the streets and flower beds, rabbits.
To make a sleepover really cozy, the guests even get bedtime stories.
Macduff was so tired from chasing the rabbit that he lay down in someone's vegetable garden.
Now it's time for a beauty treatment. Let's see how Annie's doing. First a bath, then a high-tech heat dry, and of course a massage. Finally the comb out. While Annie gets the final touches, the dog next door gets a manicure, or is that a pedicure? Well, anyway, she's chosen hot pink to match her color-coordinated collar. And finally, here's Annie in all her makeover glory. You look marvelous, darling. It's funny, but of all the activities that animals and humans do together, it seems one of the things they like to do most is work. Meet an energetic and hard-working young collie from the Scottish Highlands whose idea of a terrific time is to run himself ragged. Doesn't sound right to you, does it? Oh, no. You sit yourself ragged. That's right. Meet Vic and his human friend Tom Wilson, a hard-working team about to demonstrate one of the most interesting partnerships ever to develop between animals and humans.
Come by.
They're preparing to compete in the Sonoma Sheepdog Trials in Santa Rosa, California. An exhibition designed to test both handler and border collie. The maneuvers are complex and challenging. Come on! But they're always related to the practical work of farming and ranching.
Come on. Walk up, Beck.
Descended from wolves, border collies originated in the hill country between England and Scotland. In this rugged terrain, they became the only practical way for shepherds to control their flocks. A good collie is considered more effective than 3 men on horseback. Not only can a dog cover rough ground more quickly, but by the sophisticated language of whistles, the handler can direct him over great distances.
Now here he comes with his sheep, and I want to go anti-clockwise slow, which is a low tone. That's a come by. That's a steady. That's a walk up.
Tom Wilson came to America 11 years ago.
I was born in Scotland, and my father was a shepherd before me, and I take it was in the blood. Stand!
But Tom's not the only one following in his family footsteps. Vic also comes from a long line of sheep herders. Vic and Tom must work closely together, using techniques that are steeped in a 500-year-old tradition and take years for the Border Collie to perfect.
My way of training a dog is never to go against the dog. Let the dog do it for me. Stand. If you're firm but fair and with praise, they'll come to love you and you love them, and the bond's set for life after that.
Here at the Sonoma Sheepdog Trials, Vic and Tom gently but firmly lead the sheep through the gates and into a pen.
Hello, Vic.
Every move is watched closely by the other Border Collies. If anyone knows about herding, it's these experts. This year, Vic and Tom won 4th place. Very encouraging considering it's their first year competing. But the biggest thrill for these two is the work itself and the unique relationship they share.
Stand here. He wants to please me, and it was a treat to train. It's like as if he understands me, and then that makes a bond, and that's a good thing to have. As long as it's with me, he's happy. All right? Yes, he's here, Vic.
Bravo! That is one hard-working dog. Of course, Max here figured out long ago that it's more fun counting sheep than herding them. We all love to do things for our pets, but have you ever noticed how eager they are to return the favor? Animals want to help any way they can. It's astounding all the different things they're able to do. Like the animals in this next story. We all know the tale of the tortoise and the hare and how it shows that slow and steady wins the race. Well, you just try telling that to these hard-shelled speed demons. These distinguished turtles are some of the fastest in the racing world.
Let's go, 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 go!
With over 1,000 trophies to their credit, these little guys have a lot to brag about. And proud owner and coach Steve Wesolowski says there's a secret to their winning ways.
Well, I am a turtle. I believe in my spirit is a turtle.
Steve has 4 box turtles and 5 tortoises, each named after the laid-back songs of the Grateful Dead and Jimmy Buffett.
The one I'm holding in my hand is Mexicali Blues. He really kicked butt.
Then there's Sunshine Daydream, Sugar Magnolia, and Bo Drinks. Coach Wesolowski knows it's serious business getting his turtles ready for race night.
They're just doing their stretches, hamstring stretches, getting loosened up.
After working up a sweat, it's back inside and under the sun lamp to relax and refuel.
Hey guys, here you go. Come and get it. They eat about 5 pounds of mixed lettuce like this a week. I feed them mounds of this every day. Hey you guys, you ready to race? Yes, I am.
Primed for competition, Steve packs the team away in their turtle totes. Then it's off to the races at Brennan's in Marina Del Rey, California. The patio is crawling with competitors, anticipation ignited by the boisterous crowd.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls! I feel good, and better yet, my turtles feel good. They're psyched, they're ready to go.
First to race is Coach Wesolowski's prized box turtle, Mexicali. He patiently waits in the center ring along with his competition.
Time to earn your keep.
Then Steve gives Mexicali a last-minute pep talk.
Okay, you practice, now let's take it on home.
And the countdown begins. And they're off! As usual, Mexicali takes an early lead. At first it seems his victory is assured. Then catastrophe strikes. A An inexplicable change of heart, Mexicali turns back to the pack.
Bring it home! Turn!
Giving away the race and the blue ribbon.
Next time we'll win.
But the night is young, and Steve still has a chance for victory. His star tortoise, Bo Driggs, has yet to run.
3, 2, 1.
Then real tragedy. When the glass ring is lifted, the desert tortoises don't budge.
Walk this way.
Rather than face the evening chill, they hide in their shells.
All right, huddle.
But suddenly, a miracle. Movement. Somewhere within his little shell, Bo Driggs finds the strength to compete. Comforted by warm cheers, he heads to the finish line. At last, 7 minutes later, he negotiates the entire 8 feet and is pronounced the winner.
This is what it's all about, baby. This is what it's all about.
Through both victory and defeat, Steve says he never really loses because he's spending time with his turtles.
Well, when they win, it feels great. I'm happy even if they don't win. I just love these turtles.
I'd love to know what kind of engine those guys use, but they won't let anyone look under the hood. Hey, okay, Max, yes, you can try to get in the race, but I don't think that's your weight division. Doesn't matter what kind of a pet a person has, whether it's a turtle, tarantula, a dog, or a dormouse. There's one thing every pet owner has in common. We're always deeply concerned for the health of our animals. Here's a story about a cat whose very life was in jeopardy. The outlook seemed bleak until a hero stepped in to save the day, and it wasn't a person, it was another cat. Yes, I said another cat. In Northern California lives Bandit, who was once terminally ill, and Voodoo, a once unwanted cat. Today they're both alive because of each other and the love of their owner, Sally Pruitt.
Bandit, when I first got him, when he was a kitten, he was very playful, very curious, just your typical kitten. When he was 8 months old, he became real lethargic and wouldn't eat, and I took him to the emergency vet, and within about 24 hours he had called me and told me that he was in acute kidney failure.
A kidney biopsy showed that Bandit had ingested antifreeze, most likely from a leaking car radiator.
They had recommended that I euthanize him immediately, which was heartbreaking.
Fortunately, there was another option. With special medication and Sally's devotion, Bandit made an amazing recovery.
All right.
Then, 5 happy years later, Bandit had a sudden relapse.
After the vet had told me this was probably the end, I remember getting off the phone and just turning around and just bawling, just crying. After everything that we had been through the first time, it was really hard. Just to think about it now, it's really hard.
Determined to keep Bandit alive, Sally brought him to the UC Davis Veterinary Hospital, a pioneer in the field of kidney transplants for cats.
Hi, Sally. How are you today?
Hi, how are you?
Doctors examined Bandit to see if he was healthy enough for the complicated kidney transplant surgery. Dr. John Woolridge is on the hospital's transplant team.
We do not want to waste a kidney of a donor cat in a cat that has most chance of dying. So these cats need to be in stable condition. They need to be in good body condition.
Fortunately, Bandit proved to be healthy enough for the operation. He would receive his new kidney from a healthy young cat rescued from a shelter by the hospital, a cat who may have otherwise been euthanized. Like humans, cats have 2 kidneys but can easily live with just 1. These cats donate 1 kidney on 1 condition.
The owners of the transplant recipient cat must agree to adopt the donor cat.
Making that choice was an easy decision for Sally. And she fell in love with Voodoo.
And I took one look at her and said, that one, that's the cat I want.
Now it was time for Sally to put Bandit in the doctor's hands. The surgery would be expensive, and for the rest of his life, Sally would have to give Bandit daily anti-rejection drugs.
I love Bandit, so I felt like I had to give it everything I had and try anything.
Dr. Woolridge and 2 teams of specialists, led by transplant surgeon Dr. Lily Aronson, began the difficult operation. UC Davis has done more than 100 cat kidney transplants with an astonishing success rate of 80%. It is a complex and lengthy surgery. At the critical moment, Voodoo's kidney was removed, carried to Bandit, and painstakingly attached.
About 6 hours later, Dr. Aronson came around the corner and had kind of tears in her eyes, and I thought, oh my God, something's gone wrong. And she bent down in front of me and said, he's doing fine.
Some people told Sally she was crazy for spending so much money and energy on a cat.
It might have seemed like a lot of trouble to some people, but it was a decision I had to make, and I'm glad I made it, because today it's worth every heartache. I'd do it again in a second. She's a good cat.
Bandit and Voodoo would not be alive today if it were not for Sally and each other, and they seemed to know it. We've met some working animals like Lady Harley and the Taco Bell Chihuahua. Now let's meet a tiny thing with a very big job, helping to educate children by connecting them to a brand new world. She was just a lonely lab rat until she was plucked out of obscurity for a very special job. Dr. Judy Rivas, a cancer specialist now working in internet technology, needed a techno rat. Today this rodent is a superstar who even has her own web page where she's known as Judy's Rat. But to the kids, she's known as Ratty. Today, Ratty is the only animal in the world trained to lay wiring in hard-to-reach places so kids can reach the internet. Running cable through old buildings can be a hopeless job for human beings.
Standing there with the cabling crew, they said, oh, this is going to be a terrible job. There's less than 2-inch crawl space through here. One of the gentlemen said, oh, I had a friend that tried to train a rat, but he didn't succeed. And I said, well, we're in luck. I have the rat, I have the patience, and I bet we can do it. And he said, oh, I bet you can't. 3 months later, the rat was wiring the school.
Judy fashioned a harness so that Ratty could pull a long string attached to the cable through pipes and crawl spaces.
Okay, Ratty, here I come.
Judy communicates with Ratty by tapping on walls, guiding her through the maze of pipes, wiring, and ductwork. Ratty has now wired 10 schools and is the darling of the junior computer crowd.
I would have never thought in a million years that a rat could do it.
Sometimes it takes more than a mouse to reach the internet. Bravo, Ratty. I hope watching this show reminds us about the many ways in which animals touch our lives, and that always leads to the question, which animal is the most intelligent? And that always leads to an argument. We know cats are pretty bright, but they're generally considered so aloof that people assume a cat can't be trained like a dog.
This is Maybe Baby. He's one of the most worked cats in the world. He is best known as the Fancy Feast cat. He's the one that does the little ping, ping, ping with a Waterford crystal. Here's his Waterford crystal goblet. As you can see, he knows it very well. Now, use your foot. Good. So you have a cat posing for a picture using a prop. Something very easily and something you don't generally see a dog doing.
According to the pros, if you want your cat to do more than just be a cat around the house, you should start working with him or her at a young age, like these little guys. Every day you should have cat playtime. Then as the little ones grow up, you can work up to better tricks. You see, I'll bet you thought only a dog could fetch and carry.
We just find a sound that the cat doesn't hear all of the time. It can be a little buzzer, and it's at the end of this rod, and then there's a spoon holding his food. And we start teaching the cat. We put just a little bit of food on the end of the spoon. And as he goes to eat off the spoon, go ahead and hit that sound. Pretty soon, you're going to get him really associating that sound with the food. Hit your sound so he comes running back again.
After a time, your cat will do any trick to get that tasty reward. Before you know it, it's off to Hollywood. Just like this guy. But whatever you do, don't get too far without that little buzzer and that nice, yummy snack. Well, we can't all have a celebrity animal like that cat you just saw. We can, however, consider adopting a pet of our own. But if you do plan to adopt, make sure it's a family decision. Remember that pet ownership is a lifelong commitment. Now, let us take you on a journey of one animal's very special adoption. It could only happen in New Orleans, a Mardi Gras for dogs. Once a year, officials pull out all the stops and open up the streets of the famed French Quarter as a benefit for the city's animal shelters, as well as the National Humane Society. But this doggy gathering, the nation's biggest, is no ordinary celebration. In fact, it's a fairy tale come true.
Are you ready to get gorgeous? Even more gorgeous, I should say.
This is Hero, a brindle whippet, and it wasn't too long ago that she was rescued from a life of misery by SPCA volunteer Allison Cook. When Allison found her, Hero had a broken tooth and back injuries that had gone untreated.
She was in bad emotional and physical shape. She had some scars, and she was very, very skinny, and she was frantic all the time.
Now all that has changed, and as all fairy tales have a happy ending, Hero's been named Queen of this year's Doggy Mardi Gras. And as befits a queen, Hero gets elegantly outfitted for her royal ride.
Oh, Hero, you're so beautiful.
Allison's love and attention propelled Hero towards a remarkable recovery. Her inspiring comeback made Hero the perfect pooch to lead this year's parade.
The Queen is always a hard luck girl who came up from the SPCA.
Welcome to the Bacchus 1999 parade.
This year's king is a purebred Weimaraner named Madison, who anxiously awaits the arrival of his queen and her entourage.
Where do we go for our formal portrait?
While the king and queen get the royal photo, many pooches get finishing touches on their costumes as parade time nears.
Once I blow this, the parade officially starts.
I guess it's official. The parade has begun. As the king and queen make their way down the parade route, well-heeled James Bond's Squire Canine Bond girl. Even shaggy villains like Goldfinger can be seen with canine movie stars like Terrier Hatcher and Raquel Wolf on their arms.
I feel that Hero deserves to be queen because she shows the qualities that a queen needs. She's been brave and courageous, and I think she's a standard for other dogs to live up to. She's holding up pretty good. She likes it.
Calm down. That's appropriate. A little respect for the queen.
Queen got some big.
Oh, boy.
Put some on.
Oh,
the queen.
Oh, boy.
The parade winds down, as all parades must, and it's clear Hero has made quite an impression.
Well, I think Hero did a great job. He sat up in her float and looked around at the crowd, and we had an amazing crowd. I think this is the biggest one ever. And they read about her in the newspaper, so they were so thrilled to see her in person, and they knew about her hard luck story.
So don't despair. It may be a dog's life today, but tomorrow you may be leading the parade. Hey, you think college is for the birds? Well, this African gray parrot is giving new meaning to the term bird brain. At the University of Arizona, Dr. Irene Pepperberg is learning some amazing things about animal intelligence with the help of her star pupil, Alex. Okay, Alex, let's start with our freshman exams. Identify these objects.
Wood.
Wood, that's good.
Rocks.
Rock, yeah. This should be easy. You eat it every day.
Wheat.
Wheat.
Keychain.
Keychain, wow. 2 syllables. And what do you call this, you little squirt?
Shower. Good boy.
Dr. Pepperberg has been studying animal intelligence for over 20 years. And she says Alex has a vocabulary of more than 200 words.
What's that? All right.
In human terms, Alex thinks at the level of a 2-year-old child.
Boy. That's right.
This may not be impressive to a 3-year-old, but in the animal kingdom, this bird is a virtual whiz kid.
I'm going to ask him a lot of different questions on the same two objects. So he has to listen to my question in order to answer it right. He just can't respond to the basis of the objects, the physical properties of the objects. Okay, now tell me, how many?
2.
What's different?
Color.
What color bigger? Green. Good boy. The studies that have been done so far with Alex show that on all the tasks that we've given him that are similar to the ones given the chimpanzees, he works as well as the chimps do.
Alex can even tell you if there's no difference between two objects.
Now this is a fairly difficult task. What we do is show him two objects and we ask him what's same and what's different. And in this case there is nothing that is different. And we're going to ask him, Alex, can you tell me what's different? None. Good boy.
Here's something even more complex. 3 balls of wool, large, medium, and small, blue, rose-colored, and green. Alex is asked to pick the middle-sized ball and name its color. Rose-colored wool, exactly.
One of the things that we're hoping is that the way that we're training Alex can be used with children who aren't using language properly.
It seems that the more we understand animal intelligence, the more we understand ourselves. Speaking of Einstein's, you remember Shadow, that scuba diving dog at the beginning of the show? I want to see more of her snow skiing, don't you? And I want to see her lifting weights, shooting pool, figure skating. How about kicking field goals? Yeah, go Shadow. Now, as we all know, the most important thing about skiing is having the right equipment. And then it's down the hill for the first run of the day. I bet it's hard to snowplow when you're on all fours. Do you think we're watching Shadow ski the bunny hill? Now, if you think about it, it costs Shadow twice as much for bindings, but she saves by not needing poles or boots. Hey, watch it, kid, coming through. Obviously, Shadow could use this stance for moguls. Now, don't get too confident about the run, Shadow. Oh, ooh, look what happened. Shadow's learned one of the basics. If you fall down, you just gotta get back on. Hey, all the form and skill you'd ever need for the diamond runs. The cool thing about skiing is that you get to hang out with the kids. Or maybe it's just safe running around. And look at that. Shadow even rides the ski lift. I wonder if they have a special doggy discount on that lift ticket. So many wonderful animals, so little time. Well, that's our show. More proof positive that animals are people, too. I'm Alan Thicke, and I thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.
Man's best friends are the animals. Treat them nice and they'll be nice to you. Try to keep in mind that they're just like humankind. Animals are people too. What's more fun than an animal acting silly just like people do? Animals are people too.